Sports with CJ every Tuesday 3 to 4 on Sports Slam Radio. It's sports on steroids and with pure attitude.
Everybody, and welcome to SportsSlamRadio.com. This is Talking Sports with CJ and Fonz on this Wednesday night, September 19th, 2012. We got a great show in store. I want to welcome back to the show my co-host Fonz.
What's going on?
Here in Bear Down, Chicago Bears, boy. It was rough Thursday night, as you know. A lot of drama coming out of Chi-Town with Cutler.
Rough week for you guys, huh?
Whew, what a game. Color was just awful. The offensive line was awful. The play calling was awful. The adjustments weren't there. It was just meltdown after meltdown for me, and it was just embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I thought this was the one game coming in where we could match up with the Packers, and right now we're not in their level. Maybe in December we will be, but right now we're not at that level.
What's his record versus the Packers since he got there?
I want to say now it's 1-8.
Holy!
Oh no, I'm trying to think. 9.
Your quarterback, your number one priority should be beat the Packers, don't you think?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. Wait, he went 0-2 against them in 2009, 1-2 against them in 2010, 0-2 last year. Well, 0-1 last year because he didn't start the quarterback. So it's not 1-9. It's bad though. He's thrown like 9 picks at Lambeau Field, so he's been terrible at Green Bay. They brought him in to win these games, you know?
Yeah.
So we
were talking earlier, and I'm curious to see what they're going to do when his contract's up next year.
Yeah, his contract's up after next season, and is he the franchise quarterback of the Bears? I mean, that's a tough decision Phil Emery's going to have to make, and the Bears, if this is a bust year for the Bears, it's going to be a lot of changes. Lovie Smith's going to be gone. They're going to have to make the call on Cutler. Do they bring back Urlacher, whose contract's up after the season? I mean, a lot of things in Chi-Town to worry about, but first thing I want to get into tonight, Fonz, the NHL lockout. On midnight Saturday night, the bargaining agreement ended with no deal. The players are locked out right now. Employees of teams are starting to get laid off. This is the 4th shutdown of the league since 1992, 3rd in the Gary Bettman era. Are the players going to be locked out all season in your eyes for the NHL?
Before I answer that, why is he still the commissioner? I don't get that.
Oh, I don't get it.
3rd lockout? I think right now they're hoping for opening day would be January 1st on the that outdoor game. What's it called?
Classic. Yep. Yeah, the Classic.
Mm-hmm. But as of right now, Russia started that league, the KHL, and those owners have a lot of money to spend, and they already announced that each team can sign up to 3 NHL players, up to 75% of their salary. So most of the big stars are going to be going Russia, which is like most of their homes.
Yeah, it's
go
just
there anyway.
And the league doesn't need this right now. I mean, like we talked about a few weeks ago or a month ago, whatever. The NHL playoffs the ratings were down. I mean, there was shows on TV like on Nickelodeon beating them in the ratings. So I mean, NHL did not need this, and it's just Bettman and the NHL owners are using the lockout as leverage to create an unfair collective bargaining agreement. That's what I think in my eyes.
Well, hopefully they'll stay locked out so we don't have to talk any NHL for at least January.
Oh, gee. And I read today, too, they canceled, I guess, preseason games. They canceled till the end of September, so they already started canceling some preseason games. So it's just a mess for the NHL, something they did not need, and I don't know if they're going to recover from this one. So.
Well, also in the news, Jonathan Vilma, Roger Goodell saga continues.
Oof, it's getting brutal.
So what happened is when the players won the appeal, that basically started the process all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So, to try to see what their suspensions are going to be. And Greg Williams signed an affidavit like 4 or 5 days ago saying that Wilma put up $10,000 to anyone who knocked out Brett Favre out of the championship game. So now Wilma's lawyer has subpoenaed Greg Williams for his lawsuit against Roger Goodell in the NFL, the defamation lawsuit. So this is basically going back and forth because Goodell showed him one affidavit, and Wilma brought 9 affidavits saying he didn't do it. Is there enough proof to uphold these suspensions? What's going to happen with this?
Well, Greg Williams is a scapegoat in this. He's being used. I mean, basically, he'll do whatever he can. He wants to get back in the league because, I mean, he might not ever be back in the league. So he's kissing the commissioner's, butt right now to try to get back in the league. I guess the commissioner, I mean, he's going to prove that the intent was there to hurt. But at the same time, Vilma has 9 affidavits. This is just a mess. I think he will play this year. I really do.
Who do you believe? I don't know who to believe.
I can't blame the players as much because I think this has been going around for a long time, and you got to listen. I mean, Greg Williams was behind the whole Bountygate scandal, and he's a defensive coordinator. Players have to listen to him. I mean, I know they're grown men and they should know better, but your defensive coordinator is telling you something. You usually have to react, and it was just. I don't think the Saints were the only team that were doing it. That they were just the ones that got caught.
It's not like they're soldiers of war where they have to go follow orders. And the NFL already came out and said there was no dirty hits in that game.
No, but I do remember Favre hurting his ankle in that game. Remember, it wasn't dirty, but remember that play, like where his ankle, he came out?
Yeah, he got hit back low and up top, and he should have won the game if he didn't throw that interception at the end.
And Favre didn't take as much hits, but I remember that season in the playoffs in the divisional round, Kurt Warner got lit up. Remember when after a pick, he went to make a tackle, and the guy in Saints, I forgot who it was, just lit him up on a block?
His helmet went flying, I think.
Yeah, so that was even worse than what happened to Favre. So, I mean, the Bountygate's true, but I don't think Vilma is all the blame in this. And I think the commission is trying to just prove something, and I'm not big on the commissioner. I think Tagliabue was way better. I think this commissioner is making a mockery of this league.
And if it comes out that he put those suspensions without proper evidence, shouldn't Goodell be punished since he's doing all the punishing?
Right. I totally agree with you. He should. And no one's taking. I mean, the commissioner's to blame on a lot of things we'll get into tonight. But this is one thing, and I'm just tired of him. And he's ruining the game. He's changing the game. It's becoming like a flag football game. This is football. I grew up watching football, hard hitting, bone crushing hits. I mean, this has become like might as well put flags at the end of their jerseys.
Yeah, but people are dying now.
Yeah, I guess but it's football. You sign up to play football. It's a rough game.
No one put a gun to their head to sign the contract.
Right. And if anyone wants to call in the show tonight, our number is 727-493-2055, or you can text me a question tonight at CJ 727-278-9814. We're getting into a little baseball. You getting into this pennant fever?
Not yet. Maybe like next week it's going to heat up because there's still about 14, 15 games left.
Well, one of the big races going on is in the American League Central. The White Sox came out now with a 3-game lead. They beat Detroit the other night. They have no more games against Detroit. And basically the White Sox at home, they've won 26 of their last 36 at home. So dangerous team at home. And, I mean, this week they go to Kansas City. They've been playing the Royals. The Tigers get to play Oakland at home this week. So I'm going to ask you, can the Tigers catch the White Sox at this point, or are they done?
Well, remember when we talked a couple weeks ago, and I said the White Sox were going to win the division? You said, forget about them, they're not going to win the division.
No, you did.
Well, guess what? There's 15 games left. The White Sox have won 5 in a row. They're up 3 games. So even if the White Sox go 10-5 in their last 15 games, Detroit would have to go 14-1. So I think it's just about over. If they go up another couple games, you can wrap it up. The White Sox are going to win the division, and they'll be in the playoffs.
Unbelievable. And Robin Ventura, first year as manager, never managed in his life in any level, and he's going to take this team to the playoffs and division title.
Same story as Ozzie Guillen.
Yeah. I don't see. I mean, I don't want to take nothing away from the White Sox. They're a great success story this season. But I just can't see them doing a lot in the playoffs. Maybe I'm still a hater. I'm not a White Sox hater, but I just can't see them matching up with some of the teams that are going to be in the playoffs.
I mean, do you think they could beat the Yankees in a series right now?
Yeah, I still give the edge to the Yankees. I don't know why.
Would they beat Oakland? Would they beat Baltimore? Yes and yes.
Yes.
So now it's just comes down to like Texas or the Angels.
Well, as of right now, they would play the Yankees in the first round. The way I looked at how the format's set up, as if the players were to start today, which they don't, they would play the Yankees in the first round.
And they got that great left-hander in Sale, so I would pick the White Sox in a series versus the Yankees.
Well, most people will be rooting for the White Sox. There's so many Yankee haters.
On to the National League, though.
Oof, big races.
Braves are up, hold that first wild card spot. They're up like 6 games, so they're pretty much solidified that spot. The Cardinals are next in line, followed by, Dodgers, Brewers, Pirates, Phillies, and Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm.
they're all in the hunt. The Dodgers are 1.5 back of the Cardinals, so anything can happen at this point.
Yep. So
since the Braves are pretty much going to play that one-game playoff to get into the wild card series, they can set up their rotation. But who do you think the Braves should put in as their starter for that one-game playoff? Would it be Chris Medlin or would it be Hudson?
I got to go experience with Hudson. Hudson's pitched in the big games with Oakland in the past. I would go Hudson in a one-game playoff.
I was hoping you'd say that. You know why?
Why?
Listen to this. Since July 31st, okay, Chris Medlin is 7-0 with a 0.86 ERA. The Braves have won 20 straight games when he starts. And that's the longest streak since Clemens did it for the Yankees in 2001. I think without a doubt, Chris Medlin would get the start for that game.
But I always thought experience plays a factor in a one-game playoff.
Well, Hudson won't. I have to agree. Hudson can give you 7 strong innings, but wouldn't you play the hot hand right now?
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the kid is hot, and I mean, with those stats, how can you go against them at this point? So, and they're going to be dangerous, the Braves, if they get in. But I'm going to tell you the team they're going to be playing in that one-game playoff.
Who is it?
The St. Louis Cardinals, the team that stopped them from going to the playoffs last year. The Cardinals have 5 games left against Houston, 3 against my Cubs, which should be wins. The Dodgers have to face the Nationals, the Reds, and they finished the season against San Francisco.
Can you believe Adrian Gonzalez is only batting .237 and Josh Beckett's ducks? So what did the Dodgers get out of that trade?
And Beckett's... one thing about Beckett, he's so lazy. Did you see there was a play last week? He hit a base hit in the right field and he got thrown out by the right fielder?
Yeah, but they showed the replay. He did kind of hustle down the line, I guess.
He's a waste of talent right now. I don't know what happened to that guy. This was a guy that went into Yankee Stadium in Game 6 of the World Series in 2003 as a Marlin and beat the Yankees to win the World Series. Yep. And now I don't know what happened again. Don't
forget what he did against the Cubs too in the division in the NLCS.
Yeah, that was amazing NLCS when the whole Bartman. I mean, that playoffs that whole year in 03 were just amazing with the Yankees, Red Sox, Aaron Boone's home run, and then the Marlins, Cubs. You know,
it was kind of bittersweet at the end because of the whole Marlins. That was the team everyone thought would the least chance to win it all.
And they were playing 500 baseball up until late June, and then they just caught on. They ended up calling up a young Miguel Cabrera that year, and it just clicked. You know, they had Pudge Rodriguez, a catcher that year that brought experience to the team. Beckett. I mean, they just.
They beat the Giants in the first round, right?
Yeah, yep. They beat San Francisco Bonds that year, and the San Francisco was 1 year removed from going to the World Series, so that was a great series win. So that was a great story. But now to the 2012 playoffs, and a team that is on the brink of being mathematically eliminated is those Tampa Bay Rays. 1-7 in their last 8 games. It's fell apart. 1-5 road trip. 6 games back of the wild card at this point. Team batting average .237, just pitiful. And 3 errors last night. Team ERA though is 3.27. One of the better Rays pitching staffs of all time with their bullpen too, with Fernando Rodney just not swinging the bats. Are they officially done at this point, Fonz?
Yes, 14 games to go, and they're 6 back of the wild card. they're about, if they lose tonight, it'll be a season high 5 straight losses at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
They had 3 hits against the Red Sox last night. How many people went to the game?
Last night was a little over 11,000. It's just embarrassing. And how can this team get up for the playoffs when nobody's showing up to the games? How can you be in a playoff mood when you're playing in front of 11,000 fans?
Would they even sell out a playoff game? Probably not, right?
That's when everybody jumps on the bandwagon and when the playoffs start. But it's just ridiculous at this point. And last night, Hellickson pitched last night. He took didn't he take a no-hitter like into the 6th, or was that Cobb the night before? I'm trying to think. It was just...
That was last night.
Yeah, it was last night with Hellickson and Cobb the night before getting into a fight in the dugout with Molina. I mean, it's just... I feel bad for the Rays because, they've gone to the playoffs since 2008. They've gone to the playoffs every year but 2009. I mean, they've been competitive with a small payroll. The fans, I mean, they got to come out to these type of games. They're playing the Red Sox, division rival. 11,000 fans not going to cut it, not in a playoff chase.
And half the fans were probably Red Sox fans.
Yeah, so technically there's probably like 7,000 Rays fans there, but it's just, it's just embarrassing. And I feel bad because the team is very competitive, and Joe Maddon is one of the best managers, in my eyes, the best manager in baseball. I would rate him number 1. And I just want to say one thing, Fonz. If you saw, Steve Sable passed away from brain cancer at 69 yesterday. NFL films, Frozen Tundra, the Raiders, all the sayings. I mean, just really sad for Steve Sable.
Yeah, he really revolutionized how people watch the NFL. And I actually mailed him a while ago. I mailed him a card, and he mailed back to me, sent me a signed football card. So I have that in my collection. But I heard he's to sports what Steve Jobs is to computers.
Yep.
That's what Adam Scheffler reported.
That's so true. You couldn't get a better analogy, and I'm really sad. He died at 69. That's a young age, but he did a lot for the sport of football and really revolutionized that whole part with with having the camera on sidelines and getting the sounds and effects and players talking on the sideline.
Yep.
All right. Well, moving right along now to college football. It was a big weekend of college football. We saw some upsets. Some great rivalry battles with the Gators beating Tennessee, but I'm going to talk about the other team in Tallahassee, the Florida State Seminoles. They are now number 4 in the country. They beat up on a undermanned Wake Forest team 52-0. FSU is their first 3-0 start since 2005. They're outscoring opponents 176-3. I know they haven't played anybody. And Chris Thompson just had a big game coming back from injury. 197 yards on 9 carries in the first half, so the Noles rolled.
On 9 carries?
Yeah, Chris Thompson.
Oh, my God. You know what? They're going to pay for scheduling those 3 cupcakes. They're going to pay when they play Clemson Saturday night. I can't wait, too. You play Murray State, Savannah State, and Wake Forest when you have all top teams you could schedule. So, basically, they haven't played a real game yet, and Clemson's played a couple tough games. So they're going to get woken up this week.
So you don't think they're for real?
No, I don't.
Wow.
But, I mean, right now, the polls, the teams go up and down. So, I don't pay attention until at least October to the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
Where they rank 4?
Yep.
They rank 4, yeah. This is going to be a true test. But if they do get by this, they have pretty much smooth sailing until the last game of the year against the Gators.
Yeah, that's a
big. But I'm not sold on them yet.
I'm gonna see how they play this weekend. They were in the same boat last year. I think they were number 5 last year at this point, and Oklahoma came in and beat them. So I'm gonna see if they've learned from last year and if they can beat Clemson, because Clemson has had their number in the past. So it's gonna be a great battle. ESPN Game Day is gonna be there, and it's gonna be a fun game to watch Saturday night.
Yeah, I agree. Another top team overrated, got shocked, was USC. They lost to Stanford again. Stanford, no Andrew Luck, no Jim Harbaugh, but they still beat USC, who drops to number 13. Barkley was bad. Lane Kiffin came out and said it was his worst decisions under him in the last 3 years. And Barkley agreed. There's something about Barkley. I don't think he's going to be a good NFL player, but Why do they struggle versus Stanford all the time?
Well, it all began in 07. Stanford upset them 24-23. USC at that year was number 2, just like they were Saturday night. And USC's had their number. They beat them the last 4 years, 5 of their last 6. And it was just the defense. I mean, they put pressure on Barkley. The defense had, and it's basically why you say they always beat them, is USC beats themselves in these games. Barkley was sacked 5 times, 2 picks, and Stanford's defense just, I mean, totally dominated USC. USC was held to 27 rushing yards, 280 total yards. I mean, Stanford is just with Shore's head coach, who replaced Harbaugh. He's just, I mean, they have their answer. They know how to beat USC, and Barkley has been bad in those games. He's 0-4 against Stanford.
Wow. USC was a big favorite on the road.
Listen to this. Barkley's 0-4 against Stanford, but 17-6 against the rest of the Pac-12. So,
well, some people say he may have lost his Heisman.
Oh, it's going to be tough. They're not going to the national championship now, I don't think. They do have one more big game against Oregon. They got to play Notre Dame, but I don't see national championship. They might still win the Pac-12 and go to the Rose Bowl, but we will see about that. And moving right along to the Ohio State Buckeyes and Urban Meyer. On Saturday, they narrowly came unscathed and won 35-28 against California. It took a 72-yard touchdown pass from Braxton Miller to freshman Devin Smith to win the game. Defense has given up way too many plays for Ohio State at this point. But I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, Urban Meyer's coach, Urban Meyer always makes his teams dangerous. So how long do you think it's going to take him to make Ohio State into a national championship contender?
Well, even if they run the table this year, they have a one-year bowl ban, so they wouldn't be doing anything. But the kid from Cal missed 3 field goals. They gave up an 81-yard run, a 60-yard run to that kid Bigelow. They really should have lost that game. But I do like Braxton Miller. Mm-hmm. I do think Urban Meyer is probably one of the best coaches in the country. So I say by next season they're going to be contending.
And the big thing is his connections to the state of Florida. Florida produces a lot of great football players. Urban has the connections there from coaching at Florida, and that's going to make a big difference bringing those kids to Columbus.
So does Ohio, though.
Yeah, I mean, you combine that with Florida. So Ohio State's going to be a dangerous team, and they have the tradition, and they've always produced great players. And I think Urban's going to change his program around into a national title contender, but not this season. Fonz, I want to ask you some games on Saturday, some top 25 games that are big, and I want to get your predictions on them and see how we do on these. You can call the show tonight, everybody who's tuning in to CJ and Fonz at 727-493-2055. You can text me a question at 727-278-9814. Fonz, I want to ask you the big game we talked about a little while ago. Clemson at Florida State. They go into Tallahassee. Clemson, who do you like in this game?
Like I said before, I'm not sold on Florida State. I think Clemson is great, offense and defense. I think they're going to win the ACC, and I pick Clemson on the road.
Like I said earlier, FSU was in this position last year. They lost Oklahoma. They do it this year. I believe in this Florida State team. Their defensive line is putting pressure on the quarterback. I like Florida State, and they're going to squeak by on Saturday night.
In a squeaker?
Yep. The second big game. Number 18, Michigan, goes into Notre Dame to play the number 11 Irish. Notre Dame coming off a big win at Michigan State in Lansing last Saturday night. Who do you like in this game?
Well, Michigan won last year on a last-second touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that last season?
Yep.
All right, so Notre Dame's a lot better. Michigan's not as good. I'd have to ride the Notre Dame train right now.
Notre Dame's best start since 2002. Go Irish. Notre Dame wins.
Oh, it's on the Tyrone game, right?
Yep. 2002. Number 2 LSU goes into Auburn to play the Auburn Tigers. Who do you like in this game?
Oh, LSU. Auburn's a bad team. They're ranked pretty low, and I think LSU rolls.
Yeah, LSU's allowing just 47 yards rushing a game. Defense looks great again. They're going to put a hurting on Auburn. I like LSU in a blowout.
Yeah, there's 20-point favorites on the road. That's crazy.
And Auburn barely beat Louisiana Monroe at home. So, in the last game, number 15 Kansas State goes into Oklahoma in Norman to play the Oklahoma Sooners. Who do you like in this game?
I'm torn between this game, but I guess Oklahoma. They're 14.5-point favorites, so if I have to pick, I pick them to win. Not by 14, no.
No, I don't think it would be that bad. But Oklahoma hasn't lost to Kansas State since 2003. It's not going to happen this year. Sooners win. I'm going to say they win. I'm going to say 10-point victory for the Sooners at home.
Hello?
Yep. Now to the big boys, the NFL. And I know you want to get into some. I know the referees have been pissing you off lately.
Not as much as you would think, but what's pissing me off is that the NFL, they know that the fans are going to watch. They know that this is like a drug for people, that they're addicted to the NFL, so they'll watch no matter what. So they're playing around with these refs, not getting the deal done.
Mm-hmm.
Monday night was like a 2-hour first half. It was such a debacle. Anyone who watched it understands. I almost wanted to change the channel. I didn't want to watch. Every 5 minutes there was like a 5-6 minute stoppage in play. Was Monday night the last straw, you think?
Oh, it's just pathetic. I mean, Monday night's game was like watching a Red Sox-Yankee game. It was almost 4 hours, and it was just long and boring, and these officials are just bad. They're making, I mean, like players are saying, D'Angelo Hall, he almost wants to just, he said him and his players, his teammates just want to get a pot of money and just give it to pay for the replacement, pay for the regular refs to come back, like get a pot of money to bring them back and pay them, because it's just bad. The players are sick of it, the coaches are sick of it, the officials.
LaShawn McCoy said Ray Lewis, the guy called something, and Ray Lewis went up to him, and the guy started stuttering and like backpedaling to Ray Lewis. You know, I think players and coaches are intimidating him. They're going a little. I think they're going a little overboard, but something's got to get done.
And one player was saying, I can't remember who it was, but one player said, it's not that they're just making bad calls, but they don't even know the rules. Letting the clock run after an incomplete pass. I mean, it's bad. These are Division II guys, and it's going to have an impact on the games, and somebody's going to get hurt because defenders are taking advantage.
It's not their fault. They couldn't get the college refs because the college refs have a job. So it's not the refs' fault. I blame the owners and the NFL and Goodell and all of them.
I blame the commissioner.
I don't blame them because they're just doing the best they can.
We'll move into a team that, I'm sorry, I don't want to rub it in because my team got their butts kicked, but the Arizona Cardinals, they beat the Patriots 20-18 on Sunday.
On a bad call.
Yeah, but they still win. Arizona's won 9 of their last 11. The only team in that span that has the same record as Arizona in that span is New England, which is impressive. The defense has only allowed just 34 points in 2 weeks. Are the Cardinals for real, and can they challenge the 49ers for the NFC West crown this year?
Okay, I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to challenge the NFC West because San Fran has a pretty easy schedule. They'll probably be like 15-1, 14-2. But in those 11 games you're talking about, the Cardinals have given up only 10 passing touchdowns, which is amazing. They have a test in the Eagles coming up this Sunday, but they beat the Eagles in that streak you were talking about. They also beat the 49ers, and their only loss was at San Fran, and I think another road game in overtime. But their defense is definitely for real. They need a quarterback. I'm not sold on them. Yeah, 9-2 in the last 11 games, but I don't know. The Eagles are 6-0 in their last 6 games, so I think they're going to lose this week, come back to earth, and Philly will win.
I agree with you. I think they're a playoff team. I don't want to say division winner because the 49ers, after 2 games, I hate to say this, look like the best team in the league. But the defense looks good. The offense, I don't know. I don't believe in Kevin Kolb. The offensive line really is not protecting him, and that's going to be the downfall. Is going to be the offense. But they could be a legitimate 9-7, 10-6 team, and maybe challenge for the wild card this season.
Wow, Cardinals at 10-6, they would make the playoffs. And their defense, in that streak, they beat Brady, they beat Romo, they beat Alex Smith, they beat Michael Vick. They held him to like 120 yards passing. So it's going to be like they're going to have to prove it for a whole season if they want to be considered contenders.
Right, I agree.
But we were talking about that Monday night game. Peyton Manning. He threw 3 picks in the first quarter. His brother Eli threw 3 in the first half. He was 24-37, Peyton was, for 241 yards, the 1 touchdown, the 3 interceptions, like I said. He got off to that bad start, but I think if there was 5 more minutes in that game, or if the Cardinals got the ball once more, the Broncos got the ball once more, he was going to lead them down a victory. Is there any doubts about his neck, you think, or you think he's back?
Well, his neck's not going to be. His neck's going to cause him. He's going to get injured. If not his neck, some part of his body's going to get injured because the offensive line is not protecting him. He was sacked 3 times on Monday night, hit 6 times. You got to protect him better if you're the Broncos' offensive line. It's the first time in his career he threw an interception on his first 3 drives, and he goes this Sunday against Houston. Wade Phillips his coach is always very good against him. Manning's 5-4 versus Wade Phillips. 15 touchdown, 10 picks against a Wade Phillips coach defense. So they got to protect him better, or his season's going to be over. Because they're not protecting him, and I don't think he's fully back yet.
It's going to take him, I think, a couple more games, but I think we'll see the old Peyton soon enough. I think I might pick them against Houston this weekend, so I'm not sure. I'm a Peyton fan, so I root for him. I want him to do well. Well,
that will be a surprise. We'll have to see in the last segment who you take. We're about to get on the phone now. John Fricke. John Fricke worked for CNN Sports Tonight in the 80s as an anchor. He worked for Fox Sports Radio as a host. He's an Emmy winner. One thing I love about the guy, he's born from Chicago. He's born in Chicago. Hopefully a huge Bears fan. We'll find out that. But he's definitely born and raised in Chicago. And he's a huge football fan, and I used to always listen to him on the radio on the weekends when I was editing at my newspaper. And great guy, knows his football stuff, and huge football fan like us. So it's going to be great to get him on the air in a bit. We're also going to do our pick segment later on in the show with Joe and Fonz. And you guys can call in the show tonight at 727-493-2055. You can text me any question you want at 727-278-9814. Just don't rip the Bears in any text messages. I've took enough heat for a week. I've been ripped apart as much as Cutler this week with my Bears picks, so I had to eat humble pie. So I'm just waiting for them to play again so they can redeem themselves on Sunday against the St. Louis Rams, which I don't know what's going to happen. I think the Bears have to win this week. If they lose this game to the Rams, Lovie Smith might get, people are going to want the axe on him, and Cutler's going to take more heat, and Mike Tice's play calling's going to get better. The Bears just got to get it together, and we'll see what Fricke thinks about Cutler, and we're also going to get into some of the referee talk with him too tonight. About to get him in on the air now. All right, we got John Fricke on the air from CNN. How you doing, John?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's great to have you on. Big fan of yours when you're on Fox Sports Radio.
Yeah, well, we'll get cranked up here this weekend and start talking some more football on Fox. Absolutely.
I know you're a big football fan. I used to listen to you. I'm a huge fan. My co-host Fonz is a big fan who I want to introduce. He's going to be joining the interview with you.
How's it going, John?
Well, I live in Atlanta, and at the moment it's going pretty good, but who knows what's going to happen to the Falcons this weekend when they go out to San Diego. I don't imagine if Michael Turner is going to do shots at a bar at 3 in the morning that it's going to bode well for going to San Diego.
Oh, jeez. But you were born in Chicago, though. Did you grow up a Bears fan? Because I'm a huge Bears fan.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago. Jack Kincaid was the quarterback then. Right?
Oh, wow.
I know Dick Butkus. I saw Dick Butkus play football in Wrigley Field. Right, so it was a while ago.
Wow.
That was back when the Bears weren't any good.
It's been happening a lot during my childhood. But we're moving along to week 2, and as you know, the replacement refs have been taking a lot of heat. We saw an intentional grounding in the Oakland-Miami game. We saw the referees allowing the clock to run after an incomplete pass in the Browns game. We saw bad calls on Monday night in the Falcons game. And Joe Flacco said they're ruining the integrity of the game. Do you agree with Flacco's statement?
No, I don't. As a matter of fact, are they any good? No. Is it their fault? No. How could it be their fault? How can these guys be ruin the integrity of the game? They're doing their level best in an untenable situation. If anybody's ruining the integrity of the game, my estimation, normally in labor disputes, I know it's millionaires against billionaires when it comes to professional sports, but normally as a general rule, I don't tend to side with the unions, only because I think that the owners own and players play, and owners have a right to determine, what they're going to set the salaries at, though they're their own worst enemies. In this case, I think that the owners are the responsible party, and I blame them. So if Joe Flacco wants to point a finger, in my estimation, anybody ruining the integrity of the game, it's the owners. Because the fact that, look, they're going to sit around these owners and try and wait for 61 officials to break before they, decide to go ahead and vote, because it just takes a majority plus one to get the union to break and go back to work here. And this is preposterous, because the owners are the ones who could end this immediately for the integrity of the game, and they choose not to in an area where, frankly, I think that the NFL needs to have full-time officials. I think in this case the officials are dead right, the real officials, and that the owners are the ones to blame.
I agree with you, and I also want to mention, what did you think about D'Angelo Hall coming out saying that he wants to get a bunch of his teammates to put money in a pot and get the old referees back?
Well, again, I understand what the players are saying. We've had some bad incidents. Frankly, as bad as it's been, I expected it to be worse. You can argue that there have been some calls that might impact the postseason. As you've noted, we've seen some. I don't think there have been any as egregious as, we've seen from the regular referees at times that have impacted the postseason in terms of the outcome of games in the regular season. We've certainly seen our share of, the Phil Luckett situation of the world. But, I go back to the fact that I think all things being what they are, I actually think that these officials are doing their damn level best given what they have to go through. And we're not talking about Big Ten officials. We're talking about officials from the Arena League, from the World League, from lower division 2 or 3 college football who are being put into a very tough spot. And again, I think that it may be a black eye to the NFL, but it's not their fault, and it's not the players' responsibility to get the other officials back. This all falls upon the owner's shoulders, all of it.
Yeah, I would agree as well. They made a bad call against Gronkowski that probably cost the Patriots a game, but I don't know. The players and coaches are going to have to get past it. Everyone has to deal with it. But besides that, I live in the New England area, and we got some other drama going on with the whole Wes Welker situation. Now, in 2010, the Patriots had another disgruntled star wide receiver that they traded after 4 games in Randy Moss. The Boston Herald has some theories about this whole Wes Welker situation. They said he's in Belichick's doghouse. The Patriots don't trust him after he made the big drop in the Super Bowl. They're saving him for the playoffs. He's old and on the decline. Edelman's just better. What do you think is going on with the whole Wes Welker situation?
Well, look, ever since he came out of college after he came out of Texas Tech, and I thought he should have stayed in San Diego. I don't know why the Chargers let him go. He made such an instant impact. He's a dynamic player. He's a difference maker. If one drop is what you're going to base it on, as opposed to his entire resume, well, that's pretty silly, isn't it? So
it was a pretty big drop, though. It was a pretty big drop.
Well, I understand. Well, yeah, I understand that. Sure, Brett Favre threw a horrific interception that cost the back. What are you going to? Again, you're going to base it on one player, the whole resume. How many? Let me ask you a question, Bob. How many teams in the NFL, if the Patriots said, "Do you want him?" would take him tomorrow?
Probably a lot.
I know my Bears would.
Yeah, probably just about 31 others. Right. So again, I'm not really. I'm not privy to the internals there in New England right now in Foxborough, but I know that if you're the Patriots coming off what happened last week against Arizona, right now is not the time for internal problems, and they have to look no further than down the road at Fenway to see what internal problems can do to a storied franchise. I don't know. The bigger question to me about the Patriots is not the Welker situation. The bigger question to me is last week. The bigger question to me is whether or not the Patriots, is that indicative of what we're going to see? Is they have been, by far, the most remarkable professional sports franchise. And it's really, in my estimation, not even close, considering what they have been able to do. I mean, you could talk about your Yankees, or you could talk about, the Lakers or whomever. But when it comes to professional sports franchises, nobody has been close to what the Patriots have been over the past 20 years. And they have been astonishing in a league that prides itself on balance and on, a certain amount of equity in terms of making sure that everybody gets a taste of the playoffs. Sorry about that, Cleveland. The Patriots have been an astonishing franchise par excellence. And so I'm wondering if, and maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but what I saw last week makes me scratch my head a little bit about what's going on in New England, and wondering whether or not this is kind of the end of the run of a dynasty that has been so great for so long.
Well, just like Welker, you can't judge it on one drop. Let's not jump the gun on one loss. The Cardinals had a great game plan, and they've done really well in their last 11 games, 9-2. And I said earlier, they've given up just 10 passing touchdowns in the last 11 games. So these next couple games for the Patriots are going to be big. I'm not sure if they're going to beat Baltimore this week. But let's let the season play out, then we can start seeing how the dynasty's going.
Well, yeah, and I guess I'm not even focusing so much on this year. It will end at some point. It just naturally almost has to, whether that's now or next year or the year after. The fact is that sort of like any player who begins to peak, and you want to try and get rid of your player the year before he peaks, as in, let's talk about LaDainian Tomlinson. The franchise has been so great that if it does slide backwards a step or two or 10, I would hope that fans in New England stand up and applaud what they have done and what Bob Kraft built and what they were able to accomplish. I'm not saying it wouldn't be this year. I'm just saying that it's sort of a leading indicator, I think. If what we saw last week was, it was as pedestrian as I've ever seen the New England Patriots. They've had some bad losses, few, but the opening game against Buffalo a number of years ago, but that was just a performance that I kind of went, well, that was blasé. That was very, 9-7-ish, 8-8-ish.
I agree. Very tough game, but fans here in Boston, we do appreciate what's going on. We do understand that this is our Larry Bird era for the Patriots, and we may never see it again.
It's true. We're talking to John Fricke tonight, former host of CNN Sports Night. John, Fonz is in New England. I'm talking to you from Tampa Bay, and one of the big topics in Tampa Bay sports talk is Greg Schiano and Tom Coughlin feud about the ending of Sunday's game. We saw what happened. Schiano rushed Eli Manning, tried to knock the ball out on a kneel down. Do you agree with Coughlin for being so enraged about this, or do you agree with Schiano saying that his team is going to play to the whistle?
Well, I appreciate that Greg Schiano wants to play to the whistle. I also appreciate the fact that Greg Schiano needs to learn that this is not Rutgers. And there is a decorum in the NFL. Look, I want my team to play to the bitter end. If they manage to knock the ball out and suddenly, scoop it up and go the other way, it becomes, it's the most brilliant coaching move of all time. But, again, there's a decorum here when you've lost a game. And, frankly, Tampa, their first half was spectacular, and they got wiped off the map in the second half. They couldn't cover you and me. So at some point, there's, a bigger picture in the NFL. To me, it was a bit of a... I understand what Seattle was trying to do. I understand what he's going with it. I'm not upset if I'm a Tampa fan. I'm kind of excited about the fact that I have a coach that has such fire. But it was a bit of a, not a, rookie mistake, but it's like, let's get with the program here, Greg. In the NFL, there is a decorum, whether you like it or not, that says that, you're not at Rutgers. One loss does not kill you, and you accept what you accept in terms of, you can get good night. Well, look, you can make the wild card at 9-7, win the Super Bowl, a la the Raiders, the Giants. It's happened before. And so, I don't know. I can understand why Tampa fans, I see both sides of this to some degree being in Atlanta. I'm not anti-Tampa. I can understand why Tampa fans would be very excited about the fact they have somebody who does have that fire, but it was a bit of a misstep.
Don't you think the Giants should give it up now? Justin Tuck came out yesterday saying it was classless. They'll get it back. I mean, the Giants are still going on and on about this.
Yes, they should probably have just made their point and moved on. Yes, I agree.
Well, sticking with the NFC East, I got to admit, I bought into the Cowboys after the big road win against the Giants. I said, this is Romo's year. This is finally Dallas's year. And then they go in Seattle and lay an egg, basically. Why are the Cowboys so inconsistent? I don't understand what's going on.
I still think their line play is suspect. And not only that, but why would you buy into them? Well, what have they done to earn that?
I just figured, this is a big year for Dallas. This is going to be Romo's year. Finally, it's going to be his breakthrough year. But I guess not, obviously.
They were manhandled by Seattle.
In a division that has, one of the best. Look, there are 3 rookie quarterbacks we all know about this year, and of the 3, as good as Russell Wilson has been, RG3's been the most spectacular, and he does look like he is, at least first blush, the Cam Newton of this year in a division that has Philadelphia, which if it can kind of stop turning the ball over, has proven that it has Super Bowl caliber talent. In a division that has the Giants, even though they have had their struggles, we know about what happened last week and the way that Eli played in the second half against Tampa. I don't know. I wasn't really sure I was ever buying into the Cowboys. I said, look, that division is still brutally hard. If anything, it's even better. Washington certainly is the worst team in the division.
I agree.
But they're capable of beating anybody just because of RG3. I have to see, I guess I got to see more, Bob. I got to see the Cowboys actually do something. I've got to see that Tony Romo can do something in the postseason. I'll say the same thing about Atlanta. I have to see Matt Ryan do something in the postseason before I'm going to say, people in Atlanta running around going, look at this team. We got, Turner, and we got Roddy White, we've got all these weapons, Julian Jones, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying, well, that's great, but until you actually get it done, until you can stare at the clock at the 2-minute warning in the NFC title game and get it done, I don't know that you've proven anything to me. It's nice to be able to be there, but you got to be able to seal the deal. And granted, it doesn't all fall on the shoulders of the quarterback, but that goes for the franchise as well. There's no swagger in Dallas. There's a swagger in New England. There's a swagger. Look, the Patriots, as well as I do, no matter what happened last week, the Patriots win 10 games simply because they walk on the field and they're the Patriots and they think they should win 10 games. It is their birthright. Do you think Dallas has that kind of swagger?
No, and Romo had that chance. In 2007, they had home field advantage. The Giants went in there, beat them, and that was Romo's best chance to take the Cowboys to the Super Bowl, in my eyes, was that 2007 season.
Well, and again, this is a franchise that had the swagger. They had it for a long time. Yeah. They had it with 3 different quarterbacks running the show over a period of 40 years. They were the Patriots before the Patriots. Again, I understand why people want to believe that certain things are potentially possible, but I think when you look at the NFL, somebody said today on local sports talk radio in Atlanta, they were yakking away about the Falcons, and then they said, well, the first 2 weeks are giving us no insight whatsoever. We'll have to kind of see how it shakes out after week 5 or 6. And I was yelling at the radio, going, what do you mean they don't show us any insight? You don't think that we already know, based on the results of the first couple of weeks of the preseason from what we can glean, that the San Francisco 49ers are pretty darn good, that the Green Bay Packers are pretty darn good, that the Steelers still have issues, that surprisingly maybe the Patriots do have issues? I think we glean a lot. That the New Orleans Saints, obviously, the bounty gate kind of affected them much more than you would have expected. I think I gleaned a lot from those first 2 weeks.
And Sean Payton meant a lot to that Saints team. I said that a few months ago on the show that, the Saints had the talent, but Sean Payton, he's the play caller. He's the one that makes that team go. And even though he's just a head coach, it's a big loss in the Saints. It's proven that to the Saints.
Agreed.
Well, moving along, John, we got John Fricke in here tonight. Moving right along to a team that's having problems and a lot of drama this week, the Chicago Bears, my team. Jay Cutler's took a lot of heat this week. He basically shoved his team starting left tackle, Jamarcus Webb, last week during the game, yelled at him, was just being very obnoxious on national television. Do you think Cutler was wrong to confront his teammate Jamarcus Webb on national TV, and do you think he will ever be that franchise quarterback the Bears traded for?
Go ahead, Bob. You could go ahead and hear Deborah laughing. Hey, Bob.
This is CJ speaking.
But CJ. Here's the thing. Back in what, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, Jay Cutler had a girlfriend, right? And the girlfriend was a cheerleader. I'm trying to remember if she was a Broncos cheerleader. She may have been, but she went to some event in Denver, okay? And she was up there and doing the event, and the local TV station showed up, and the paper showed up, and they shot a video of her, and he got angry beyond words. This is about 7 years ago. He got livid that the TV people showed up and were showing his girlfriend on TV. Livid. And so the next day it's in the paper that Jay Cutler had called out the media and was screaming at the Rocky Mountain News or the Denver Post, and I don't know, it was KMGH or KUSA or one of the TV stations for showing her on the air and addressing her as Jay Cutler's girlfriend. And I thought, what's so what? I think it just kind of gives you an insight into this guy. I think that Jay Cutler's skin is about 1/10 of.
Hello, we lost. John, are you on?
Yes, I am.
We lost you for a second. Sorry about that.
No worries. But anyway, the point about Jay Cutler, I don't know if you heard the story then about the cheerleader.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we heard that part.
Okay, so anyway, my impression of Jay Cutler, and I have, no way, I've interviewed him in mass settings before, and I've had him on once or twice back when he was at Vanderbilt, is that, he's just a guy that's got pretty thin skin. And, for all his talent, top 10 draft pick, and for his abilities as a leader, I'm not sure, and so to be in the NFL as a quarterback, I don't think he's proven himself again. He's sort of like Romo. You got to prove it to me. You got to get it done in crunch time. Prove that you can lead. Prove that you can rally a team. The Bears are in serious trouble, in my estimation. Again, in a division where only the Vikings are the worst team.
Yeah.
Detroit's pretty good if they get their offense going, and we know how good Green Bay can be. So at this point, I'm not sure that the Bears are even going to crack 500. And if it starts to melt down again in Chicago, they're going to have to make some decisions. There are going to be good quarterbacks coming out. Maybe it's a time to move on from here because the Jay Cutler experiment, which is, they sold their soul to get this guy. Why, I don't know. But, boy, again, Denver's laughing. They got Tim Tebow to carry him to the postseason last year, win a playoff game with Tim Tebow, and now they've got Peyton Manning. So, for Denver, this worked out well. I'm sure that they're thrilled that it worked out this way. And for Chicago to have in one thing, and I'll say this real quick because I don't want to drag on about Jay Cutler. I can understand why the Bears made the move. I grew up a Bears fan. It's a Bears franchise that has not had a franchise quarterback in over 60 years. That's an astonishing thing to say, but it's true. Name the franchise quarterback of the Bears in the last 60 years.
Yeah.
I'll play the Jeopardy theme. You name me the one.
Oh, I'd have to name you in the past 20 years. I could name you quarterbacks like Henry Burris and Jonathan Quinn for the Bears. I mean, it's been always rough.
But the best Bears fans could do about a franchise quarterback is say Jim McMahon.
Yes, I agree.
That's it. And McMahon wasn't a franchise quarterback. Jim McMahon was smart enough to know his limit, and Matt's got to know his limitations, Dirty Harry. Jim McMahon was smart enough to know his limitations. Don't lose the game. I've got Walter Payton, Richard Dett, and a phenomenal defense with Mike Singletary. Don't lose the game. That's what Jim McMahon did. He never won him a game.
No. In '85 it was the defense, and I mean when you're handing the ball to Walter Payton, one of the greatest running backs of all time, I could do that.
Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer knew his limitations. Said don't lose the game.
One thing we want to ask you, John, before we let you go tonight, we got the game tomorrow night. The Giants have a lot of injuries. Bradshaw's out. We found out Nix is not going to play tomorrow night. David Dahl is basically out, and I mean Giants are just in a mess right now with injuries. Do they go into Carolina and still win tomorrow night?
Well, I am hesitant to make predictions only because every time I make a prediction, Giants in the Super Bowl, I'm usually wrong. But this is a huge test of this team, and here's why I would choose Carolina, not because of the home field, and not because of the injuries, but because of something you said earlier in this interview. When Tuck is running around screaming about the end of the game last week, that says to me they're not focused on the game coming up. So they got a game on Thursday night. I don't know if they're set right now to go into this Carolina thing and take on Cam Newton. I think they may be in a bit of trouble, frankly.
I agree.
That's my sense.
Yep.
No, I agree. Their focus should be on the Panthers instead of the Bucs when the game's already been passed now.
So, I mean, you asked me to make a prediction. I wouldn't be betting on the Giants. Of course, that means I'll probably come out and win 58-0.
Well, John, it was great to have you on. I worked at the Tampa Bay Times. Every Saturday night, I'd work till 1:30. You'd keep me up on the way home driving. I used to like listening to your football talk, and it was an honor to have you on tonight.
Well, anytime, and you're welcome to call into the show if you catch me on Fox here, talking a little bit of football. I'd be happy to have you on, and I think it'd be great to talk a little Tampa Bay, and it'll be interesting. To me, this is real quick, I will say this, transition year for Tampa Bay, boy. I think this is all up to whether or not this is going to be Freeman's team or not. And at the moment, I don't know. You tell me, because I'm still kind of where I was at the end of last season. I'm not real sure.
I'm not sold on him yet. I don't know. It's hard to say if he's a franchise quarterback. I mean, they did draft Doug Martin, who seems like he's going to be like that Ray Rice type back in that Schiano team who coached Ray Rice at Rutgers. So they got the back. The defense is starting to finally click. McCoy played good in the first game, but I don't know. The Bucs are going to be a competitive team, and they're going to play to the whistle. Schiano has that team playing hard.
No, well, there's truth in that, and so that's, again, this is the message Schiano's sending, even though he's bucking the trend. He's probably sitting in his office going, I know, but I had to do it. So,
thanks. Well, thank you, John, and you have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, absolutely.
All right, good night. That was John Frick, everybody, former host of CNN Sports Tonight. We're going to get into our picks now, and we got a phone call coming in.
Hello.
Is it Mr. Joseph?
This is I.
Who's this?
It's Joe. What's going on, fellas?
I knew it was you.
It's David Deal, CJ. David Deal, not David Dahl.
That's what I meant. I'm so bad with pronouncing names. But Joe, you had a rough week last week. The records last week, I went 8-8. Fonz went 8-8. Joe with a 6-10 record.
My allegiances have hurt me, especially to Romeo.
The year records, I'm 20-12, sitting atop the first place. Fonz is 18-14, and Joe is 15-17 at this point. Moving, all right, so we'll get into the first pick this week. The St. Louis Rams going to Soldier Field to play the Chicago Bears. Big bounce-back game, hopefully, for the Bears. And we'll see what happens if hopefully they can get it going and Cutler can have a big game. I'm going with the Bears.
Bears.
Joe?
Calling for a Cutler meltdown. I'm going the Rams.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Buffalo at Cleveland. I am going to take the Bills on the road.
I'm going to pass on this one.
Is he allowed to do that?
It's fine. We got 4 minutes.
Either way, we're going to come back to it. All right, I'll go Cleveland at home.
All right. I'm going, Joe?
I'll go with the Bills.
Tampa Bay at Dallas. I'm going the Cowboys at home to get it going again.
Dallas.
Joe?
I'm going Tampa Bay.
Wow.
Oh, no, Joe. Oh, no. Don't give up on the season already.
Detroit at Tennessee. I'm going the Lions on the road to go 2-1. Fonz?
Yeah, I agree. Detroit. Tennessee's not that good.
Joe?
Give me the Lions.
Jacksonville at Indy. I'm going to go the Colts at home to go 2-1 behind Andrew Luck. Fonz?
Jacksonville lost 2 tough games. I don't know. I'll go Indy at home. I'll go Indy as well.
Okay. Jets at Miami going to play the Dolphins, who just won against the Raiders. I'm going to go the Jets on the road in a bounce-back game.
Fonz? I agree. Tebow time. Jets. This is, what's his name, the coach with the glasses that used to coach the Dolphins?
Oh, Tony Sparano.
Sparano's going back to Miami. He's going to win. So, Jets.
Joe?
Yeah, I'll take the Jets.
San Francisco, looking like the best team in the league so far, goes into the Metrodome to play the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to take the 49ers to go 3-0. Fonz?
49ers.
Joe?
49ers.
The Kansas City Chiefs go to New Orleans to battle the 0-2 Saints, a battle of 0-2s. Saints surprising at 0-2. They play in the Mercedes Superdome, which sounds weird, but I'm just always known as the Superdome, but Mercedes Superdome. I'm going to go the Saints at home to finally win. Fonz?
Yeah, I hope the Saints win. I don't think they're going to go 0-3.
Joe?
You know the answer.
Oh, yeah. No way. Chiefs?
Give me Romeo.
Oh, my God. Are you giving away the season after week 3?
No, Peyton Hillis is going to run all over the Saints.
Joe, you're not winning that game.
Can you say it, though, Joe? Can you say it?
Give me a multiplier for that one. Give me 2 points if I win that one.
No. You're not going to win, so I'm not going to worry about that.
Can you say the phrase, though?
What?
Joe, can you say the classic phrase when you pick the Chiefs? Give me Romeo or give me death.
Cincinnati goes into Washington to play RG3 and the Redskins. I'm going to go the Redskins at home. Fonz?
Yeah, season opener, home opener for the Redskins. I would say Washington.
And Joe?
I don't think the slipper fits anymore. I think we're going with Cincy.
Wow, a lot of different picks with Joe. Joe's going to gain ground or not gain ground this week, or be really back.
I think the Eagles might win that too.
All right. Philadelphia goes into Arizona. Battle of the 2-0s. Arizona coming off a huge win against the Patriots we talked about. I'm going to go the Eagles, though, on the road to win to go 3-0. Fonz?
Cardinals are playing good. They held them to 126 yards passing last year. Well, I'll take, and I think it was Philly's last loss of the season. But I'll take Philly.
Joe?
Oh, Larry Fitz didn't do anything, and they still won. I'm going the Cardinals.
Wow, Joe is only solo picks. This is a big game. Atlanta going into San Diego to play the battle of 2-0s. One of these teams is going to be 3-0 after next week, which was kind of a little surprising. I'm going to go the Chargers at home. Fonz?
Over Atlanta?
Yep, San Diego Superchargers.
I'm going the Falcons. Even though it's going to be a long flight.
Wow.
I don't know what's the deal with Michael Turner. I think Ryan Matthews is coming back too.
Joe?
But I'll go Atlanta. I want the Falcons.
Houston at Denver. I don't know, said Tim Tebow. Peyton Manning against Houston at home. I think the Broncos bounce back and win this week. I like Denver at home. Fonz?
I agree. Denver. Mile high.
Joe?
I like the Broncos too.
Wow, no one took Houston in that game. The Pittsburgh Steelers coming off an impressive win against the Jets. Going to Oakland to play the Raiders. And who do you like in that game? I like the Steelers.
It's big.
Joe?
For me too.
All right. We got a shout-out. Mike says he's shouting out for the Miami Heat. His Miami Heat wants a shout-out. So Mike Pans, shout out to the Miami Heat. We'll get more on NBA in a few more weeks when we get towards more of the season. But Heat are the defending champions, and we got a shout-out. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Moving right along to the Sunday night game, the Biggie. A rematch of the AFC title game. The New England Patriots, 1-1, going to Baltimore to play the 1-1 Ravens. Big game. These two teams don't like each other. I'm going the Ravens at home. Fonz?
Yeah, I almost never pick against the Patriots. I don't think I've ever picked against the Patriots. But I'm going to go Baltimore.
Wow. That is shocking. Wow, I'm glad this is on tape. Joe?
I'm going the Patriots. There's no way I'm betting against them.
And the Monday night game, Green Bay goes into Seattle in one of the hardest stadiums to win in, the 12th man at Seattle. Loud stadium, Monday Night Football. Seattle destroying, manhandling the Dallas Cowboys. Green Bay beating my Bears, which we won't talk about. I'm going to go the Packers on the road to go 2-1. Fonz?
The Pack is back. Green Bay.
Joe?
Packers for me too.
And the last pick, the game tomorrow night, which we asked John Fricky about. Giants have a lot of injuries. They go into Carolina to play the 1-1 Panthers, who just had a win against the Saints. I think I would agree with Fricky. I think the Giants' attention this week has been so much on the Bucs, and that was week 2 game. I don't think on a short week they're focusing on the Panthers. I'm going Carolina at home tomorrow night. Bonds?
Yeah, I agree. Cam. What about Cam? Carolina.
Joe?
I got to go the opposite way. Give me the Giants.
Wow, the G-Men. All right, well, we got a few more minutes. I just want to mention something I read today. We already mentioned Tim Tebow's name, but he was a rumor on Fox Sports that he said he wouldn't rule out politics after football. Would he be the president of the United States? Tim Tebow.
Joe, it's not me anymore.
I mean, he could be mayor of Gainesville. That we know, but I don't know, Senate or president or vice president. I don't know if I'd go that far. Or Tim Tebow.
President!
People love him. I can see him being the president of the United States. Tim Tebow.
Yeah, I don't know
Hey,
what
if Kevin
happened.
Johnson could be mayor of Sacramento, then I think Tebow's got a shot there.
Hey, Jack Kemp ran for vice president, and he was the quarterback with Bob Dole.
Listen, he's never gonna do nothing. All right. I
They
don't
were
know
just
why.
praising him for like 3 months straight.
Can I make my point? Can I please make my point?
Okay.
You've developed a love affair with this guy. You bring him up. You bring him up every week. The only thing he's going to do is go from church to church making speeches. So I'm all set. You made me hate him. You made me hate Tim Tebow.
I'm glad. And by the way, Vinny called in from Boston, actually just texted me and said, please tell Fonz that Patriot fans are disappointed in him for that picking against New England. So you're making enemies in New England.
Well, I got to be a realist
job,
right now.
Bob.
I don't know what's going on with the whole Walker situation. So I don't know. Would you pick him right now as a unbiased sports fan, CJ? Like you didn't pick them.
No, I mean,
From the outside looking in.
if it was in New England, I would have took the Patriots. I think Sunday night, national TV in Baltimore, that plays a role in the pick. What about you, Joe?
I'm biased. I can't go against Belichick. So I don't see how they don't win this game. They don't bounce back. They're not losing 2 in a row.
There's only one team that Joe picks more than the Patriots, and that's those Kansas City Chiefs, the 0-2 Chiefs.
That's because he used to be a Chiefs fan when Montana was there.
Who was that Chiefs fan that called 2 weeks ago that said they were going to win a division and all that?
I want to hear from that guy again. Because we haven't heard from him since they said they were going to beat Atlanta.
I know, it was like, I mean, he was talking like, wasn't he talking like division winner? I think Peter King took them to win a division too. I mean, I don't know what people saw in the Chiefs. Matt Castle, do you think he's going to take you to win a division? I mean,
Hey guys, I got a hitter for you. I got a quick hitter. I got to ask you guys. I got into an argument on Facebook. For your life, one game. Who's your QB? Joe Montana or Peyton Manning?
oh, Montana. Montana won. Montana won. I mean, every big game Montana won. I would go Joe Montana any day to start a big game.
Fonz, Montana, yes, but Brady over Montana.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I would still go Montana over Brady. I really would.
No, I think I would go Montana too.
I've seen Manning choke too many times. Yeah, Joe Clutch is there every time. I trust Joe Montana.
Well, I talked very highly of the 49ers tonight, so I've impressed some people that are 49er fans because right now they are the best team in the NFL, and I would take Joe Montana. So, great show tonight, guys. Thanks for the picks. John Fricke was an awesome interview. It was great to have him on. Huge football fan like all of us, and I mean it was just a great show. Fonz?
Even though he kept calling me Bob.
Yeah, he did call you Bob. I heard that. I heard that. I was like, huh? But he was awesome. I would like to get him on again. He knows his stuff. I used to listen to him, like I said, on the radio. Knows his football, and it was just a great show, Fonz.
I'd like to call in his show too.
Yeah, definitely. He's got a great show. I'm going to listen in. And tonight was a great night. We'll see what happens in week 3. Some big games. Hopefully the Bears get it rolling. Hopefully Cutler gets out of the news, hopefully with some good news. And we'll see what the Patriots do against the Ravens. So join us next Wednesday night, September 26th. And we'll talk to you guys then on SportsSlamRadio.com. Hello? We still in the air? No, I'm going to sign off. Yeah, we said we announced it.